Hello, everybody. It's good to see you on this call. And this evening, we're going to talk about diabetes, particularly. And maybe some things that you aren't aware of, or it's presented in a different way to what you're used to. But first of all, we're not going to interfere with your medical prescription. Listen to your doctor. You make a decision. Your doctor and your priest, sacrosanct. Your relationship has got very little to do with me, and I won't do anything that would harm that relationship. So who are we? We're a good group of people, scientists, doctors, pharmacists, healthcare people, housewives, pharmacists, farmers, anybody who's interested and has a special interest in diabetes. Some of the people are diabetic, others are not. But here's the big challenge. About 10% of the NHS budget is being spent on diabetes already, and that's ever increasing. And the incidence of diabetes has increased since 1960 till today by over 600%. So it's an ever-growing pandemic, really, that we're experiencing. And they're spending lots of money. Yeah, you'll see 1.85 million an hour on diabetes. So first of all, to set the framework here, this is not a religion. You don't have to believe everything I tell you, and nothing strange will happen to you if you don't believe what I tell you. Okay, so go and check out, do your own research. Just something interesting, seeing that we're talking about diabetes is the inability of your body to metabolize sugar. So really, today, there are already 262 names for sugar. So it's being hidden in everything. There's sugar in a tomato, there's sugar in a potato, there's sugar in milk, there's sugar in anything you can just about think of, there's sugar in them. So you can go and read this book as well, William McLeod, Unmasking Sugar. The food industry hides this fact, listing different sugars separately on the labels. Okay. So you might say, it says carbohydrate, 4.5 grams, of which sugar, 7.6 grams. So there's more and more sugar all over the place. And if you really take all the things you list them up, you'll find, like, for instance, in tomato sauce, probably more than half of it is sugar in any case. So other people tell me that I'm diabetic, there's nothing I can do. So excess glucose, inflammation, pain, all of these things, they don't know which type of diabetic you are. And I know the type 1 diabetics are very particular that they are different and special. Well, we're all special. We're all different in any case. The only difference is that you've got to get your insulin somewhere else because your body's not manufacturing enough. So let's have a look a bit further and, dive in and dig in and see what else we could learn here about diabetes. Okay, so after you eat your food, the food is digested into glucose, which is really sugar. Let's say your food is broken down and it's delivered as an energy source to your body as glucose or sugar. So we only really have sugar and oils or fats as fuel for our bodies. Our body releases insulin. So the insulin is there to basically bring down your blood sugar level again so that you don't, run up to the ceiling or jump off a bridge or something like that. So make sure that you live on as low a demand for insulin as possible. Okay, so that should be one of your goals, to need as little insulin as possible. There's a healthy cell. It's a nice rounded one. I know some are flat, slightly different shape. They might have, more like that, an oval even, but that's just a representation of a healthy cell. That might be in your eye, in your heart, your liver, your kidney. So the outside is a smooth membrane, which is really lots of oils in that membrane. That mitochondria is the thing where your DNA sits, which really replicates, and it's essentially who you are and the code for it. That little blue thing is like a a carriage on a train. It just runs in and out through the cell wall or membrane to go and fetch some of that glucose or sugar, the brown stuff. The purple on the left there is insulin. So that's a nice healthy cell. These smiley faces are the antioxidants. They're the things that are going to mop up all the bad things in your cells that come from this process. Okay, so insulin binds to the insulin receptor and it triggers the glucose transporter to go and fetch some sugar or glucose for you. And there's a little channel that opens up through the cell membrane and it fetches it and it drags it inside. Okay, so the little train goes through the cell membrane there to fetch the sugar and bring it inside so that you can generate nice energy and you can be healthy and active. Okay, there it's going through the cell membrane and it goes out to go and fetch the sugar, which it brings inside, and you really process it into be energy. So excess glucose, if there's too much sugar, it's changed into glycogen or fat and fatty acids, and it's stored in your body, mostly in the muscles, okay? So at the bottom, there's just a little bit of fun. You don't have to be fat to be diabetic. You can be as thin as a rake. You can be as big as a house. So yes, if you're obese, it's not good for your health. But just because you're overweight does not make you diabetic. Okay, so that's another false fact or false story. So yeah, you can see there's a bit more activity happening. There's a bit more insulin and a lot more sugar involved. So this process releases free radicals. It's like the exhaust of your car. There are excess waste and pollutants really from this process. And these antioxidants in turn destroy all the free radicals. They call the free radicals. So that they can prevent cell damage. You don't want your eyes to deteriorate, your lungs, your kidney, your liver. Okay, if we eat more and more processed food, sugary things, more carbohydrates, our body gets overloaded. So I keep saying to people, it's like you're drowning in sugar eventually. There's just more and more sugar, more and more sugar, till your body is full and your cells are saturated with sugar. So you don't end up being insulin resistant. You end up being saturated with sugar. Yeah, you can see now there's an overloaded cell. Look at all of the insulin. The doctor just says, send more insulin, inject more insulin. They should be telling you, take less sugar, take less carbohydrate. That's what the doctor should be telling you. And I hear this all the time that people say to me, I can eat whatever I am. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I just eat and I press my pump and I inject my insulin and I cover it and there we go. Well, my friends, that is a recipe for a disaster if you believe that. Okay? So as these antioxidants try to overpower the free radicals, they sometimes lose the fight. And that's when you're in serious trouble. And I see lots of people sending me photographs where they're in hospital and have all of these problems. So we eat more and more food, more and more is transported. The cells are overworked. The antioxidants are losing the fight. Okay. And this is what the cell looks like now. Okay. So it becomes shriveled and shrinks up like this. The shape changes. That's why the diabetic has an eye problem, because even the shape of the cells in the eye changes, and that affects the focus in the eye. Okay, so this is the sad thing about diabetes management and diabetes treatment. No wonder the doctor tells you diabetes is a progressively degenerative disease. Well, the way it's managed and handled, no wonder it is. Okay, throw more insulin at it, eat more sugar. I mean, come on, come on, come on. We all went to primary school. You don't need to be a fundi, a doctor or specialist to realize that this is not the answer to dealing with your diabetes. That's the damaged cell where they used to be nice, smooth little channels. They're now bumpy. They need a lot more energy. You're tired all the time. You're thirsty all the time. Your body's running out of things to be damaged as you go along. And you need to fix the damage that's being done to your cells. Okay. So the membrane's damaged. The cells now become overpowered. Those channels are bumpy and distorted. And you need more and more energy just to keep alive and manage it through the day. You go to your GP, You get the bad news, you are diabetic, and the doctor now prescribes uh, metformin to you most often. And then the things with the glucophage, age, there are about 19 names now for something which is essentially still metformin after lots of court cases and problems that people have had. They just change names. It's like the sugar kind of thing. If you get into trouble, you ditch the company and you get yourself another name for the same product. Okay, so over time the diabetic gradually uses and requires more and more insulin to force the sugar now into the cells. And once that's being forced, it goes into the calf muscles, it goes into the belly, it goes into your heart, it goes into your liver, it goes into your lungs, blah, blah, blah. It just keeps being shoved somewhere. And then disingenuously, they will test your blood sugar and say, your blood sugar has come down now. Yes, but your body's a whole. The sugar is still there, damaging you day by day. Okay, so it's not a solution. And you can go and Google by how much does metformin lower blood sugar, and you can go and shock yourself. So this is really what happens. The drugs turn down your liver function. Your liver really, which was a trickle pump saying how much insulin has to be released and how much sugar is in your blood, it now starts becoming a reservoir and holding back some of the sugar. It starts shoving it. I call it the dirty teenage bedroom syndrome, where you tell your kid, tidy up your bedroom, and they shove it in the cupboard, they shove it under the bed, they hide it in a bag. It's still there, it's still ugly, it's still messy. And normally after 12 to 24 months, they reach the maximum doses of these drugs, and the sugar levels still don't come down or lower. And typically within 5 to 7 years, sometimes 10 years, the diabetics injecting insulin. So that's the next thing. Let's just throw insulin at it, more hormones, okay? And over time, it just gets worse and worse. I say in 34 years, I've not found one person who can tell me or say this sentence honestly, that I was diabetic, I took my drugs, my medication, and I got better. I can't find anybody that tells me that. But what they do tell me is, I was diagnosed with diabetes 4 years ago. I took the metformin, the glucophage, whatever the drug is they gave me. And after 12 months, they doubled the dose. After 24 months, I was over 3,000 milligrams a day. And now I'm injecting insulin. My blood sugar is higher than when I started. My eyes are packing up. My kidneys, blah, 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 heart, whatever. Okay. So go and Google these things, man. By how much does it lower blood sugar? They reckon 1.5 to 2% at maximum dose. If your blood sugar is 15 and 20, my friend, it makes no difference if it lowers it by 2%. Okay, so you need more serious interventions if you really want to get your blood sugar under control. So, yes, the first thing I would suggest, okay, is to reduce your demand for insulin. You cannot have that big chocolate cake if you're diabetic. Okay, it just doesn't work that way, because you need a lot more insulin than a person who's not diabetic in order to metabolize that big piece of cake. So you have to make some lifestyle changes. You have to start reading the labels on bottles and things. You have to see where the sugar is and take less of it. So you can't have cereals for breakfast. They're bad for you. You can't have the fried foods for breakfast. Okay, so you're looking at eggs, tomatoes, cucumber, things like that for breakfast. And I don't know, it doesn't say that in the Bible or the Quran or any holy Bible book that you shouldn't be eating that for breakfast, but it also doesn't say you should be having cereals for breakfast. So there's no real hard and fast rule for it. Okay. Again, it's not and doesn't have to be progressively degenerative. You don't have to buy into that nonsense that you have to be sick forever and always be on medication. It's a nonsense, okay? You have to fix your cells and you have to limit the further impact on your body, okay? So lifestyle and nutrition, those are things you can change. And again, if you say, I'm a type 1 diabetic, if you make these lifestyle changes, it also improves your health. It will also make your insulin demand less. It will also improve the quality of your life. Okay. So I'm talking about deficiencies like fiber, lipids, sterols, magnesium, chromium, things like that we are deficient of. We are not deficient of insulin. We are not deficient of metformin. Okay, we are deficient of good food and food nutrients that should be in our diet, but it's no longer there. Okay, so have a look at these. The only thing that you have to get rid of, this is an ancient slide of about 5 years ago, and we'll talk about that bottom one. I should have taken it off by now, but I just see it's still on here. Okay, reduce your sugar and carbohydrate intake. Reduce your glucose demand. You can add fiber, lowers your blood sugar level, lowers your cholesterol, gets rid of the excess sugar from your body. Feed your body by supplementing with lipids and sterols to help replace, renew, and repair. Okay. And I'm not talking about the pharmaceutical grade things and the shop sold synthetic petroleum products. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about whole food, non-GMO supplements. Okay. You can increase your waste secretion, so you get rid of and clear out those cells so that your cells are no longer saturated by sugar. The intermittent fasting has been discredited by science now. So if you're a healthy person and there's nothing wrong with you, intermittent fasting can be great for you, okay? But let's just think of it logically. If you have a big truck that's not, it's empty, it's not fully loaded, and you're driving up a big hill, it's reasonably easy. Imagine you had a huge load on, it's loaded to the max, and you start to drive up that hill, okay? It's more difficult. There's more stress on the truck. There's more stress on the engine. So what this research has found, they started with 20,000 people, 40,000, 60, 90. They're now at 185,000 people that have been studied in a 5-7 year study already. And it found, these are the main findings, which is important if you're diabetic. Intermittent fasting increases your risk of a heart attack and coronary heart disease by 91% if you have pre-existing conditions. So if you're already diabetic, your truck is fully loaded. If you already have high blood pressure, the load is heavy on your truck already. If you already have heart problems, your truck is overloaded. Now you withhold the food from it and expect it to perform. That's why it's bad to intermittent fast if you are diabetic. Okay, so we'll clean up that slide. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay. Oh, there's some of the supplements. I'll talk about them later on. So, yeah, here's the study. A study of 20,000. That was the first study. Found that people following an 8-hour time-restricted eating schedule, that means they eat for 8, and for 16 they don't, they fast, had a 91% higher risk of death from cardiovascular disease. And overall, 65% of diabetics will succumb to their heart. Okay. Studies in the USA, China, Europe, similar results. There it was 120,000. They're now at 185,000 people. And you don't believe me in any case, so go on Google and ask AI. So I just want to explain to you why I disagree with the term insulin resistance and prefer glucose cell saturation. Okay, the idea that your cells are full of sugar, as opposed to the idea that your cells don't listen to insulin. Okay, so here's how they would explain to you in medical school this slide. You're driving along your little car, which is sugar, on your way home, which is the garage. You arrive home and you press the little clicker, click, click, the garage door opens. You drive your car inside and the little door closes behind you. That's typical explanation of how sugar gets into your cells through the cell membrane. Now they would tell you resistance is when you keep pushing the clicker and you're sending the insulin, but the car just doesn't go inside the cell anymore. It's because of ignorance. It's total ignorance. So this is in a nutshell how it gets explained to you. And you will be taught that sugar and carbohydrates are not the cause of diabetes. And the go-to medication is metformin, and that more insulin is the answer to diabetes. That really is, for 77 years, the go-to way that diabetes was seen and treated. Okay. Now, I just want to go one little step further on the next slide. Everything up to 4 is the same. Okay. Drive your little car, click your clicker, go inside, and there you are, the same up till there. Okay. And then number 5, now the little door opens again. The membrane opens, your little car drives in, or your sugar goes in the cell. And then when you click again, there's no more space because there's a car inside the cell already. The car is already the saturation of the cell. Okay. So your cell is not resistant to the instruction of the insulin. It just can't obey anymore, okay, because your cells are full. You are full of sugar, and you just can't put any more inside, okay? There's no more space. You're now saturated. You can go and Google and AI this. I've taught the AI, especially ChatGPT and Ask AI, I taught this to it over the past 9 months. And if you now ask these questions, what is glucose cell saturation? It'll give you the answer that I taught it, because it's always asked me, do you mind if I keep a copy of our conversation? Okay, so at least it's being educated as well. Yeah, it's just an alternative where what I'm telling you, I tried with other people. This guy was many, many years ago, was one of the first guys. So it must have been like 20, must be 15 years ago. Guy called Jason, a bodybuilder. And he said he was injecting himself with steroids and everything. He's in his 40s. And his blood sugar was always over 15 and like 25 when he has fish, chips, carbohydrates, and things like that. Okay. And he came to our house, and he was one of the first people that started using this. And within 7 days, that 26.6, which was his top, dropped to 5.5. Okay. He had to start eating jelly babies, and he had to drink orange juice rather than taking what he'd been taking for 3-4 years. That wasn't making a difference for him. So in 1 week, he reduced his blood sugar level by 63%. Okay. And if you're diabetic, forget about the 63% even. Imagine you just drop your blood sugar level by 25% or by 50%. Imagine you halved your blood sugar level. If you're 20, it becomes 10. If it's 9, it's a 4.5 kind of thing. So really, you can make a huge difference to your life by doing these things that I suggest. There's actually the first lady. That was in 2009. Moiman Nahar, she'd already been diabetic for 15 years. She was injecting 38 to 59 units a day. And within 6 months, she halved her insulin demand. And after 7 months, a doctor told her she's no longer diabetic. So I'm not going to go to the words, are you cured and all of those things. You decide what happens if you halve your blood sugar level. So here's one of our friends. Let me just play you a bit. She's a pharmacist in the USA, and she's going to tell you a little bit, Yvette, about diabetes. Oh, where's this? Oh, there we go. Let me just push. There we go. Okay, we're here with Yvette in California, a pharmacist. So, Yvette, if I was diabetic, what would you suggest that I do?
Well, that's interesting that you ask, because the first question I usually ask my diabetic patients are, what are your lifestyle like? What do you eat? So I always recommend, you got to cut back on the carbohydrates and the sugars. And lots of people think sugar is that white stuff on the table. No, it's the cookies, the crackers, the potatoes, the rice, all the carbohydrates, the oatmeal that you eat. So I first suggest even the milk, because guess what? The milk has got sugar added to it. So I do definitely recommend you change your diet. Make sure you do that. Add some supplements to that because majority of diabetics are very depleted in magnesium, and also if they've been on diabetic drugs, that does deplete magnesium. And I will also supplement them with a sugar balancer, which really helps, like your cinnamon, your turmeric, that kind of thing that can really help with balancing the blood sugars. And then we start a journey of healing, and that's where we start. Doesn't mean you have to start directly on a drug.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. And for the people listening, the stuff she's talking about is not sold in your pharmacy. Your doctor won't give you a script for it. So like, follow, and share, and we'll put you in contact with us. Okay, that was it. Let me just get to the next one. There we go. This is a friend of ours, Yvonne in Florida, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what happened to her husband. Okay, great. We're here in California with a friend of ours, actually from Florida, Lavon. So she's going to tell us a bit about diabetes, her husband's story, in fact. Okay, Lavon, over to you.
This is for all the wives out there with difficult husbands that just don't get it. Till one day a doctor says, sir, you're in trouble. So that happened with my husband. And so it actually happened when he had a diabetic retinopathy diagnosis, and it was affecting his vision, which was really important. So he sat down and I said to him, all right, it's your body. You can continue to do what you've been doing with it, or you can make some changes because you're married to a change agent here. So he decided, okay, I'm ready to change. So guess what? We went and got a glucose monitor, and guess what? His first test turned over 300 points as a diabetic. That is not good. In fact, the doctor told him, with this kind of damage, you've got about 30 years of out of control stuff. In fact, I found out at work, my husband, they called him the Carbo Man because he hit the machine so much. So now I said, okay, honey, it's time to change and reverse some of this damage. And we know that we can do that because our bodies are empowered with the ability to do that when it's given the proper nutrition. So first week, all right, that blood sugar started dropping. What did I give him? Well, I gave him some omegas, powerful omegas. We found out that omegas can drop inflammation. Omegas can actually be a part of restoration, repair, and repairing the damage was really important at this point in time. And then we needed to balance his glandular system who'd been taxed, like your pancreas, for instance. So we gave him a little sugar balance here. All right, so I'm kissing him on each cheek, so I'm giving him a little sugar that way, and we're giving him some sugar balance this way. So he's doing great by week 2, by week 3, by week 4. We're dropping that blood sugar. We're dropping pounds too. So by the end of 30 days, we dropped that blood sugar count down to about 120, and we started dropping pounds. We dropped 40 pounds, got everything into balance. My husband is on 0 medications. He just had some blood work done at the doctor's, and the doctor says, you know what, I don't even consider you a diabetic anymore because you are totally controlling all of this through your lifestyle. Thanks to the filling the gap, reducing inflammation, supporting your glandular system, you've got to be able to help support the body for that restoration.
Okay, so really this is just in short what you can do. Okay, we all can probably do with dropping a little bit of weight. 5 to 10 kilograms to most people would be fine. You can reduce your sugar intake and then exercise at least 3 by 30 minutes per week. If you can get to 5, that's even better. Then drink water. You need about 2 to 3 liters of water, clean water per day. And then I always get asked this one, honey's probably good for me. No, well, sugar is sugar. That's really the maxim. And these are things you can avoid: hybridized wheat, potatoes, carrots, and beetroot. I know everybody's telling you that beetroot's good for you because of the nitric oxide. Well, you can get nitric oxide in a drink supplement without the sugar. Okay, so you really don't need to take the sugar in the beetroot. You need the nitric oxide, and the nitric oxide is a gas, so it's only available in short It's in short supply, in beetroot even. So have a look at that. And soluble and insoluble fiber, that's one of my favorites that I use it 4-6 of them per day in any case. So anybody can and should have extra fiber. We should have about 30 grams a day. In Europe at the moment, we're below half of that. So you can have it from oat bran, barley, nuts, seeds. You need soluble and insoluble fiber. The soluble one will mop up the excess sugar and fats. The insoluble one will scrape and clean out your digestive tract. Okay, so that's really what you're looking for. Let me just get to the next one. This thing got stuck here again. Okay. The sugar balancer, it's a broad spectrum supplement, which really the chromium is important because the chromium is the mineral of satiety. So it will help you with normal metabolism and help to get your glucose levels in balance again. Okay, so important to you. There's so many of these things in my way, and let me just get rid of it. So it regulates your blood sugar. The magnesium is often a deficiency in people with diabetes. You can see there are lots of studies saying that diabetics are low in magnesium. And again, you'll hear there are lots of people saying, take this magnesium, take that magnesium. Again, a lot of them are synthesized, made in a laboratory. I will only recommend food sources for magnesium. Okay. So again, it can help with your demand for insulin as well, lower your demand for insulin. And then if you're low on lipids and sterols, those are the oils I was talking about in your cell membranes. They even have a word for it in diabetes. It's called diabetic dyslipidemia. That means you don't even have these lipids and sterols or enough of them to keep your cell membranes healthy. Okay. Phytosterols, they're also called EFAs, essential fatty acids. And the word essential in English means you've got to have it. And most of us don't have it. Okay. So why are these things different that I would recommend? They're really based in nature and backed by science. And again, nature and natural in the sense of the food the human would normally eat. So it's human food sources, because you can say to me, oh, this is natural. That's natural that I'm taking. Well, petroleum is natural. Cyanide is natural, and I wouldn't take it. Okay. There are peer-reviewed studies and publications on these products. They're non-GMO, so they're not genetically modified. That's 66, I think, and now 67, 68 years of science behind this. And all the products we recommend are produced under pharmaceutical license. That means the ingredients that are on the label are found in the product. Okay. So people also ask me, if I take this and it's sorted, my blood sugar is under control again, can I stop using it? Well, you can stop using it if you make the changes that originally caused your diabetes. So you can use this, get your blood sugar levels under control, and I can give you a guarantee, if you keep eating the half chocolate cake in the evening, 2 liters of Coca-Cola and 6 bottles of alcohol, it'll come back. Okay, so make a lot of little changes and you can get this under control. Just drop your sugar intake by like 20-25%. Just up your good oils by like 20-25%. Just get a little bit more exercise. Just drink a little bit more water. Okay, take a bit more fiber. So there are lots of little things you can do that can make a huge difference and get your blood sugar under control again. Okay, so get into this habit of doing this. The people, if somebody invited you, they'll get into contact with you, and they will also, follow up, see if there are any questions you need answered, or if you want a WhatsApp call, we can discuss your diabetes with you. I just finished publishing the book on diabetes, where everybody asks me the question, I'm diabetic. I can't eat anything. What do I have for breakfast? I can't eat anything. What do I have for dinner? whatever. Are plastics bad for me? There's so many things that are in here. Why you should avoid carbohydrates. Then there's stories in the back here as well. People's stories that tell about what they did, how it improved for them, how things changed. Our guy with the 306 blood sugar could get it under control again. There's just a lot of information, things that people would normally ask me that I've now put in the book. So I just started with sending them every time they asked a question, and I've put it into, and it's a nice fat book. There's 320 pages of it. So if you really want to learn something about diabetes, which is honest and truthful, and there's no influence, nobody's exerting any influence on me, and I'm just saying what I've researched, what I find that works, and I love to share that with other people that can also benefit from that. So let me just stop the sharing here, and then what I'll do, I'll allow you to unmute. And if you want to ask any questions now is your turn and your time. Okay, any questions? Anybody like any questions? You can unmute yourself and ask.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
That's Charles.
Yes, Charles, how are you?
I'm good.
Long
Yourself?
time.
Yes. I just wanted to find out from you,
Yes.
how many of the fiber, tablets can someone take a day? Is it something that we can just keep taking, or there's a limit to it?
Okay, I'll say that the research and the science at the moment shows that you need about 30 grams of fiber per day. That's anybody, diabetic or not. In Europe, the worst is Ireland. They're getting like 9 grams of the 30. The best at 19 is Holland. And I'm sure in Africa and other countries, you'll also be very low. So most of us, the doctors that I've spoken to, the researchers say, of those that we recommend, you can take up to 14 maximum per day. So that's like your upper limit, really. But I just find if a person starts with 1 a day, just for the first week, and then 2 a day, 3, and up to at least 2 before each meal. So let's say around 6 to 9 is the optimum level. But start with 1, because lots of people actually then complain about stomachs and can even get diarrhea. So I always say to them, start on a Saturday or over the weekend, but just start with 1 a day for a week till you're used to it. And then you build up till you get at least 6 a day, 2 before each meal. With a glass of water, that's very important. You need the glass of water for the fiber to swell up to clean it out.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chris.
Okay, that's great. Nice seeing you again.
Yes.
Anyone else? There are more people coming in. I don't know whether they saw it, something or missed anything.
Chris, it's me again.
Yes.
In certain countries,
yes,
the sugar balancer is not available. If the sugar balancer is not available, what should they use as the alternative?
Yeah, I've got that in people who are in Australia, for instance, and we still have good results. There's fiber also in the shake, and the shake. So lots of the people where it's not available do the shake and the Pro Vitality together with magnesium.
Okay.
So don't you have sugar balancer where you are?
No, we don't have some in Ghana, but Herman was able to get me some.
Yeah, you can get from South Africa probably as well. Herman could help you with that.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else?
Yes, please.
Yes, go.
Yeah, my name is Henry. I'm calling from Cameroon.
Hi, Henry from Cameroon. How are you?
I'm doing very good.
Is that the Henry that goes to Kenya?
Okay, this is my question.
Yes.
Are you planning to have like all this fiber and sugar balance in powder? Because I know I think I asked the question before in one of your TikTok post.
Yeah, they have it in South Africa, I know, as fiber in a powder form. They have it in the USA, and they have it, I don't know, some other country. But most of the people really are turning to the tablet form because it's a lot more convenient, especially if they go to work. You know, they're going to take 3 or 6 during the day. It's easier to take it as a tablet. But I don't know in your country, or even if they have in Kenya, maybe in a powder form. I'm not sure of that. Herman could probably tell you better. Herman, do you know? Herman's still young. I know who's come. But who invited you, or do you get a message from Barbara? Where did you get the message? Then we can always send you information.
No,
Henry?
actually, I'm just saying that this is the second time I asked the question, but I'm not saying that I cannot swallow the tablet one. I'm just
Tablet.
asking if there's a
If
plan
there's a
to do it
fire.
in powder.
Yeah, I know in South Africa and America, I know that and in Australia, but yeah, with us in Europe, it's all in tablet form.
Okay. And this is the second part of my question. Is there any side effect? Is there any known side effect of this fiber sugar balance or this supplement?
No, I've not heard. I've never heard of anybody. Like I said, the only thing that I do know is some people, if they take a lot to start off with the fiber, they can get diarrhea. And some say it's like because it's cleaning out their digestive tract, and they get smelly and black and green poo and things from it in the first week or two, but it normally normalizes after that. So it's the best to start with one, because to make you used to it and you don't have any effects, side effects from it. But a lot of side effects I do hear of are positive things, like people say my skin has improved, I have more energy, the pain in my pelvis has gone, and my joints are better. So no negative side effects I've ever heard of.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hi, question.
Yes.
My name is Saida Begum. So I've got a question because some people are they taking insulins. So what shall I tell them to take it for the diabetics? Like they taking already insulins. So I have got diabetes myself, so I'm taking Provitality, fiber, omega-3.
Okay, so do you inject insulin yourself or not?
No, I don't. But I have got sister. She is taking insulin.
Insulin.
So
Okay.
what should I take?
Has she got a little pump, or does she inject herself?
Inject herself.
She injects herself. So she looks at what the sugar does. And she prick her finger, or does she have a monitor on her phone?
I think she's taking like sugar level, like she's got machine, she's checking, and she's taking insulin quite a long time.
Okay. Okay. So if people are taking insulin, they think that they are a type 1 diabetic. I have lots of people who are type 2s who also inject themselves. So really,
I know she's got type 2.
got type 2. So really, I mean, what she's got to do is to start taking, especially the fiber, and building it up. So 1 before every meal, 2 before every meal, even if she can handle 3 before every meal, so she gets like 6 or 9 a day, it will bring
Fiber.
it'll bring her the amount of insulin that she needs to inject will come down a lot. But it's like a balancing act, because you don't want the sugar to be very low as well. So she'll know. How long has she been diabetic then?
I think it's almost 12 years.
Oh, okay. So she'll know how to manage it properly by then. Okay. So add the fiber slowly, and as the fiber drags down the sugar levels, she'll be able to inject less insulin, but she'll know how much she needs to inject.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But it's best, to introduce it gradually, because you don't want to make a big drop in her sugar and then she can even go unconscious.
Okay.
Okay.
All right then. Thank you.
Okay. Are you in London as well? I know that name.
Yeah.
Okay. I say that. Thanks. Okay. Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Nelson.
Hello, Nelson. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. I want to find out whether the sugar balancer is part of the New Life products.
Yeah, in which country are you?
In Ghana.
In Ghana, yeah. So the sugar balancer is not in Ghana, but I know Johnny in Ghana also gets it, but he gets it from Nigeria. So that's the closest to you where it's available is in Nigeria. Who's your upline? Is it Herman?
Pardon me?
Who's your upline? Is Herman? Do you know Herman in South Africa?
Yeah, I know Herman. I know Charles Ajay.
Oh, okay, and you know Charles as well, yeah. But Charles said he's got some from Herman, so make contact with Charles and Herman, and you can find out from them how they get it to Ghana.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, because I always say to people, you know, if you're going to use it regularly and you can afford it in one go, get yourself like the little box. There's 6 in. So let's say even if they're going to get it from South Africa or Kenya or wherever, and they have to be couriered. Band together, let's say there are 3 or 4 of you and you get 5 or 6 little boxes or things at the same time, then it's more affordable for the courier as well.
Thanks so much.
Okay, pleasure. Anybody else? We're getting close to the end. One question or so. Okay, Mahmoud?
Yes, I'm in Canada.
Yes, welcome.
What should I take? My AIC is a 7 right now, 7.1.
HbA1c.
A1C, yeah, and I want to lower it. So what should I take?
Okay. Are you in Canada, you said?
Yes.
Okay, in Canada, they've got fiber and the sugar balancer and the magnesium and the lipids and cereals. So they're all available in Canada.
Okay.
Okay. Have you got contact with Barbara, or who do you have contact with?
No, with you. I'm under you. You send me the message.
Oh, okay. Okay. Where? Let me just say what I'm going to do. Let me just get you. I'm going to find you. Yeah. Then I'm going to send you. Okay. Yeah, we go. I'm going to send you a message quickly. Then I'm going to send you Barbara's WhatsApp number.
Okay.
And then you can just message her. Then you can. Okay. Yeah. Barbara. +44 798181 2626. You can WhatsApp her on there, then she can help you to order online in Canada. Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Did you pick up the number there? Mahmoud, did you see the number I messaged to you?
Yes.
Okay. So just send Barbara the message there on WhatsApp, and she arranges and sends you the link, and they courier to your door. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Last question.
Hello.
Who's lost?
Hello, Nelson. Nelson again.
Okay.
Is it the case that magnesium lowers sugar level?
Okay, what magnesium does, if you're diabetic and you get dry eyes and you get dry mouth, it's because you can't get proper hydration. So even if you drink a lot of water, you often find that diabetics have swollen feet and ankles and lower legs. That's because you don't have enough magnesium to draw water into your cells. So even though you take enough water, and then people say, oh, my legs are swollen, I've got too much water. And no, you don't have enough magnesium. That's why the legs are swollen. If you had decent magnesium, it would help to draw water into the cells. That helps them puff up again and round. And it also dilutes the sugar. It's like, you get a cool drink that's very, very sweet. If you add water to it, you dilute it, and it's easier to excrete then. So yes, it will help you lower your blood sugar levels by better hydration.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, welcome to my doctor there with Mandela's picture. Good to see you, Kaka. You eventually got sorted out after a long time, okay? Oh, that's great. Thank you, everybody. It's nice having you all on the call. And next week, At the same time, on the same link, we'll have a talk about blood pressure. So if you have any people struggling with blood pressure, you can share the link with them as well. Okay. Good night. Thanks a lot. It was good having you all on the call.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Good night. Bye-bye.